Hi, it's me again, Callum from Time Valley, and today I'll be showing you around the handover on the Rollerteam T line 590. So on the driver's side you've got your vent for your boiler, so just make sure this is obstruction free at all times and it allows the fumes out of the vehicle. And below is your waste water, so you drive over a grid and anything you have put down a plug hole goes into a separate holding tank and you pull the lever to open, and this is your waste water. So in the winter you'll want to open that up and allow all the water out. And then further along you've got your fresh water fill up point. So this opens with the separate key which does all the locks on the motorhome. You'll be able to open this, unlock the cap, and you get a hose pipe and put a hose pipe in there until either it overflows or until you're happy enough you've got enough water on board on the main control panel above the Habitation door, which I'll show you in a second. But this is lockable to stop anyone tampering with your water. So I'd advise you to go and buy a hose pipe with a few hose pipe connections, as it's just a brass tap on most sites. Moving further back, you've got your hookup point. So to hook the vehicle up, what you need to do is you need to get the hookup lead, lift it up, slide it over the point and clip on. And then there's a small lever here to unhook the vehicle. Coming around the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light and your built-in rear view reverse camera. You've got your bike rack which just folds down, so if you just unclip this cable tie, it'll slide down, and then underneath your bike rack you do have your toilet cassette, which again locks with this key. So make sure the blade's closed on the bottom of the bowl of the toilet, and you'll be able to lift this blue handle and slide the cassette out. And then empty, you'd go to your waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside your toilet and shower block. Take the cap off, press this button here, puts a bit of air in, stops it glugging, gives it a consistent flow. Empty it. Once you've emptied it, there's normally a tap there. Put some water in, give it a shake, give it a rinse, empty again, and then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, fill the cap full straight into here, and it's ready to go back into the vehicle. If you are using the tablets, which are the new form, you would put a pint of fresh water into the box, the cassette, and drop one down the toilet, and that'll break up into the liquid. And obviously use Motorhome Pacific toilet paper as your normal luxury household toilet paper, like Andrex and so on. Swells, whereas the motorhome stuff breaks down with the chemical. And on your passenger side, so to operate these locks, what you need to do is, it's locked when these two notches on the back are pointing to the back of the vehicle. You push it in, and you'd push it in and you'd do a quarter of a turn, locks it, and then a quarter of a turn to unlock, and then you do have in here storage. So there you've got some of your carpets, some cushions for your bed makeup, your own unwinding handle, and your rear ladder, which is accessible from this panel inside. And you do have fold down shelves, so the shelves can come here and further up if you want the shelves instead of the large storage area. You've got your two fridge vents, and you've got your LPG, so your gas locker, liquid petroleum gas, and in here you can fit 2 bottles, and they connect the regulator hose to the bottle. It's a left hand thread, so it's opposite thread with gas. Hand tighten, turn on and off at the top of the bottle, obviously turn it off when you're travelling, and make sure the bottle is securely strapped in when you're on the move. And you can get another one in there as a spare. And then at the door of the passenger door you've got your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key. So this key in here, turn, then you can fill with diesel. And on this lamp panel you do have your tyre pressure, so it's 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi front and back. And then below on the step you've got your weight plate, so it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. If you want to put a tow bar on, you can tow an extra 2 ton behind you, making the train weight 5.5 ton, and it's got your chassis number on there, so can't exceed 5.5 ton the train weight. Your engine battery lives under this compartment here in the floor, so if you ever needed to change it in the future, you'd have to get through the floor, the engine battery. And your bonnet releases on the side of the dashboard there. So now underneath the bonnet you've got your paint coat here, so if you ever needed a touch-up pen or any paint for any damage, you've got paint there. Brake fluid, radiator fluid, this cover lifts off to top up the radiator coolant. And your power steering fluid, which is this one here, but the main one you're going to need is the screen wash, which is located in the corner underneath the driver's steering column there. You've got your oil filler and dipstick, and then if you ever needed to jump start the vehicle, you'd earth off here, so this is where the black clip would go. And if you put a key or a screwdriver just down here and in this cover, so your little tab lifted up, this is where your positive red clip would go in there. And ignore that weight plate, because that's where it was a Fiat chassis cab. Go off the one on the passenger door now, as it's been converted into a motorhome. And to open the Habitation door, use the key again. To the front is open, to the back is locked. And then when you come into the vehicle, above the Habitation door you have your main 12 volt control panel and your heating and hot water control panel. So I'll start off with the 12 volt. So if you are hooked up, you'll have the hookup icon here, which will give you 240 volt, and all your sockets inside the motorhome will work. If not, you will just have 12 volt and only your 12 volt lighting and 12 volt sockets will work. So to turn the motorhome on and off, you've got this button here, so off or on. You've got battery 1, which is your engine battery reading. Battery 2, which is your, looks like a trailer and is your leisure battery reading. Top one is your fresh water reading. And then you can press again and it'll go to R1, which is your waste, which is empty because you've just seen us open it. And then on this side you've got your internal temperature. You've got your lights, so this is your master switch for all your lights, and then they all are individually switched around the van. You've got your awning light and you've got your water pump on the top. So you've got to have your water pump on to use any tap in the vehicle. So your shower, your sink, your hand basin or your toilet, you must have it on. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's left in the lines and it'll just dribble out. And then operate your Truma digital control panel. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold the wheel in the middle, the button, and this will turn it off and on. So if it was totally off, you just press and hold until it got life, and then enter into the menu, you just press OK. So as you can see, you've got the van with the thermometer in, so this is the temperature of the vehicle. So it's at 30 degrees at the minute. You can turn it all the way down to off, and if you were happy with what you set, you would just press enter, and that's set the temperature at 30 degrees. Moving further along, you've got your thermometer in the water, so you can have it on off if you've got no water in the system and the boiler's empty, or no water on board. Eco, which is at 50 degrees if heating the water. You can have it on hot, which is 70 degrees if heating your water, or you can have it on boost, which will turn off the vehicle heating to prioritize the water. So for this we'll just say hot, so OK. Moving further along, you've got your energy source. So you've got gas on its own, which you'd use if you weren't hooked up, i.e. while camping. You've got mix 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. And then you do have mix 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and gas, which you'd use in the winter. Obviously this doubles the source and should reduce your time to heat the vehicle or the water. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on a smaller CL site or abroad, but in most sites on the UK you can use electric on 2. So this is 2 kilowatts of heating your water, of heating on electric. So we'll do your heating of your water or your electric, or should I say I'll start again. So electric 2 is 2 kilowatts on electric, which will heat the van or your hot water system. You can use this in most sites in the UK, but if you're tripping out anything and you're running too much power, you may have to turn that down to 1 kilowatt. But because you've paid your site fees, use electric and not waste your gas. And then moving further along, you've got your fan at the end, which is either eco, which saves, it's a 12 volt assisted fan, so it saves a little bit of your power, or you've got high. And in the bottom corner, you've got a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off. So say you were getting out of bed at 8 o'clock, you might want the heating to come on at 7:30 to warm the vehicle up. And then you do have a clock, so when the time goes back and forth, you can change the time displayed on the panel. And then if you ever got a warning triangle here, you can go into the settings and go and reset the boiler. And then to turn off, you just press and hold. So to operate your Thetford fridge, so you turn on and off here by pressing and holding. And then if you just press once, you'll get your control panel on. So this is an automatic energy selection fridge, so it knows what source it should run off by itself. So if I was to take the hookup out and the gas was to be on, which it is, it would switch over to gas. If I was then to start the engine, it would switch over to the battery setting. So if you did want to turn it off and manually put it on, you can take it off that by pressing here. So you're on electric, battery, and it's failed. That's because the engine isn't running, and the battery setting is designed, it isn't off the leisure battery as most people think, it's off the engine battery. So the alternator will send a feed from the engine to the fridge, and it is designed to keep the temperature the same. So it's basically like a cool box, so you've got to cool the fridge down prior, and then once it's on the battery, it should stay cool no matter how long you travel. So if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, or your storage yard's got hook up, a couple of days before, if you go and hook the vehicle up, put the fridge on, allow it to cool, and then the day before, if you fill it with your shopping, and then overnight the shopping should get nice and fresh in the fridge. And then if you put on a battery or leave it on automatic, it will automatically switch over. And it should say, all your shopping should say nice and edible and fresh, no matter if you travel 20 minutes down the road or a fair distance. Or you can manually put it on to gas, like so. And then you do have your temperature, and then this is just designed, it puts a bit of heat round here and stops the rubber from freezing. But do take in mind, with the automatic selection on, if you were to stop at a fuel station and you've left your gas on, obviously you can't find electric hookup because you're not hooked up. It can't find the 12 volt because you've just turned the engine off, but it can find gas. This fridge is automatically programmed to wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas, because if you want to pull into a petrol station, you don't want your fridge sparking and causing an explosion. So if you did want to put on a gas, you'd have to manually override it. And then part of winterizing, if you clean your freezer box and fridge out, so clean it out with a bit of Dettol or antibacterial. The last thing you want to do is shut the door, as it forms an airtight barrier. So when you open it, if you look underneath both handles, there'll be a little toggle. You just put that toggle into there like so. It allows air in and out of the fridge door to stop any mold or bacteria growing in the fridge. And this shows it's lit on gas, as before it was showing a slight fault code. That is because if the gas has been off for a long period of time, it's best to bring it through on the hob first, and then it'll prime the lines of the gas, so your other gas appliances will light. There. In your kitchen area, you've got 3 gas burner hobs, so you'll need some kind of gas match or lighter to light these. And then you would just control the gas from here. Allow it to cool before you put the glass lid down, as these can shatter. And below you do have an oven and a grill. So There's the oven lid. Also make sure that this shelf is never this way, it's got to be the other way, with the U shape at the back. This is to stop food from going over the burner and blocking the burner jet. So it would go that way. And then above, you've got your grill there lit. Also remember to either wrap these up or take these out when travelling, as they can rattle when on the road. And below your oven in this compartment you do have your red isolation taps for your gas. Any problems with gas, turn it off at the bottle. These are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced. A technician will turn each one off to make sure each appliance is working correctly on gas. And as you can see behind, you do have your trips, which are here. So if you've tripped the vehicle out with a kettle or a toaster or anything, try here before you try your main site. But this is your location of your trips. And then to work this, you've got two racks in here, slide out racks. So if you use this, this shuts them both in place when travelling. Lift it up, you'll be able to slide the drawers out on the runners and access your items you've placed in the both. And then this shows your water pump working, and as you can see, this is hot water. So that's showing your hot water system is working as well. And then above the fridge you do have your status push-up TV aerial. So what you do is when you're travelling, you make sure that it's pulled into the vehicle firmly and tightened up, and then should you be struggling to get a signal, you can loosen the nut off, push the pole up and use the toggle to direct the aerial. Tip is to look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing on your site and point yours in the same direction, and you should get a strong enough signal. But it is displayed on the light at the back. Obviously when it's green it means it's found a signal. If it's red or amber it's struggling. Obviously amber it's found a weak signal, and red it's struggled to find a signal. But you've got a min and a max on here so you can boost the signal, and you've got your solar controller there for your solar panel. You don't need to do anything with that, it's charging your leisure battery on a good sunny day. In the bathroom area, to operate your toilet, make sure the pump's on and you can press the blue button here. This will flush the toilet. And then to open, there's a blade here. If you push that to the right, it'll open the trapdoor and allow it into the cassette. So to use the toilet, what you need to do is you need to flush first, which lubricates the blade. Open, use the toilet, then you would flush the toilet again after you've used it, and you would close the blade to conceal the smell. And on here you'll see it's green at the moment. That'll change gradually, so it'll go a little bit green, a little bit red, until it goes to a solid red, which means that the cassette is needing to be emptied and topped up with chemical. You've got your access into your garage here, or your shelves if your shelves were to be down, like I said, from the outside. So you can put shelves, and that'll act as a bit of a wardrobe. And this side is your wardrobe for your hanging with your hangers. To operate your blind in here, you will just pinch, clip up, or you can pinch and pull the fly screen down. And if you wanted them to depart each other, just pinch them in the middle, and obviously then you can open the window by opening up, pushing out. You push all the way out to bring it in. Your bathroom lights underneath the cabinet, and you've got space up here to store all your toiletries, and the same underneath your sink area. And then in the showers you have got your shower screen. So make sure this is strapped down with both straps before you start travelling. This will just stop it clattering about when you're on the road. And then obviously it will fill this space. You've got a hanging rail, you've got a towel rail, but these are also great for hanging your wet clothes on, or acting as more storage for clothes, especially this one if you hang some more clothes if you're going for a longer period of time, because a lot of people don't use the showers in the motorhomes, but you kind of have to with the new pandemic in place. You've got a shower, so take the shower head off when winterizing as well. As you can see, it's looped, it'll hold water here. If you take this off and allow this to lie in the shower tray, it will stop any water. And also when winterizing, so you'd open the fresh, the boiler, the waste, all the taps within the vehicle to stop any water. So leave all the mixer taps open in the middle position, and this will allow any water in the lines to just dribble out the vehicle. To lock your Habitation door, what you need to do is you need to lift it up until it shows red, and then if you go for the handle, it'll automatically open up. You do have a fly screen on there and a blackout blind for underneath. So located underneath the rear forward facing travelling seats this is your freshwater tank. So to empty it out, there's no handle outside, you've got to lift the red cap off, put your hand in, and you'll see that big lever here. This one, you would turn it and pull it up, and that'll drain your fresh water off. So in the winter, when you're not using the vehicle and it starts to become frosty, you want all the water out the van. So you'd open the fresh, your waste, your boiler, and all the taps within the vehicle to stop any water from freezing in the van. As you can see, this is just a plastic tank. If this was to freeze, it would split the tank and potentially flood the vehicle, and that's not something you want. So please open all your water points when you are not using the vehicle. And just next to it, so this is your travelling seat, in this seat behind the passenger, if you take this little panel off, down there you'll see a little blue toggle which is across the vehicle. This is your boiler drain. So your boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you allow the water to come out the vehicle, otherwise it'll freeze and be very expensive to replace or repair, and it isn't covered under warranty. So to open, what you need to do is you need to turn that little toggle, so turn it clockwise and it'll go from front to back. A little diamond in the top, the little black tab will pop up, and a button will pop out the side. This is when you know it's open, and you'll hear it rush underneath the van as the water is coming directly out underneath the chassis. And then to close, what you need to do is put it back into that position, and there's a small little blue button just on the side here where you can push it in. So the blue button is closer to the boiler down this side here on the face of the frost control, but this is an anti-frost control, so it'll automatically drop your water at 3 degrees, but please don't rely on it in case it ever becomes faulty. You'll want to drain your water off yourself. And this is how to drain your boiler in the winter. And underneath your long bench seat behind the passenger seat, you've got your leisure battery and your 12 volt fuses, which does your various 12 volt equipment within the vehicle. So it would be a good idea to carry some spare blade fuses with you, just in case one does blow, and it's all listed on the front what fuse does what. Now in your front lounge, to drop your table down, what you need to do is, this is your unlock and lock arm on the table. So you need to push down, unlock it first, push down. So once you've got the table down and it's locked into place, you would just position it where you need it. Get your bed board, which lives in the wardrobe. So it's this board here, and you need to put that in between here and here. So as you'll see, there's 2 holes there. That puts these 2 little tabs in there and across to here. And this is where the board would go, so it'll clip on there by the 2 lugs and into there, so it'll give you extra bed support. And then what you would do is you'd use your 2 infill cushions. They'll go in here somewhere in there, like so, and then you'd use the various other cushions. So I'll put the cushions down and I'll show you once it's made up. So this is how you'd make the bed up with the cushions. So the two infill cushions which are cut away would go towards the tethered seating area there, and then you'd use the backrest off here in this space here to make the beds. And of course you can turn the other leatherette cushions the other way around to get this side, as it's flatter to sleep on and more comfortable. But that's how you'd make the bed below. And of course you do have the one above, which you can just press the button here. So press and hold, don't just keep clicking, press and hold, and then you can bring this bed down any length. So if you did want it all the way down, you will just have to remove the backrests, this one, that one, and that one. It will come down further, or you can stop it at any height and have it as like a double bunk bed, so two people down here and two up here. And then the bed's underneath your bed, so the lights underneath your bed, sorry, you just tap them, they will come on and off, and you can have them. Or you've got a switch which is two down here, and you'll be able to turn on your spotlights underneath the bed. Should the bed ever fail, this is the fail safe, so you put this into here, and then you can wind the bed up or down. Should the 12-volt battery ever fail on you, that's your fail safe. And this window slides back as if it was to open out. It would get knocked over and smashed by the Habitation door. Then you've got the same blackout and fly screen on there. Your two front seats spin round by these two arms, so if you slide them out, you'll be able to slide it round. If it was to get stuck on the door pillar, you just have to readjust the front driving position of the seat. And obviously both do that, so you can have them both, which creates a bigger lounge. And to operate the large skylight in the kitchen, you can turn this open and close the skylight. Obviously make sure all your windows and skylights are securely closed before you start driving. And you do have a blackout blind and a fly screen on there. To open the large skylight at the front, just like a window, you'd release the tabs, push it out, and then you can securely fasten it into place by using the black knobs. Obviously bring it in, loosen it off, and securely fasten it back down. It's not designed to be open when travelling, even though it is above the cab. And then you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind on there. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake. You've got your Remus car blind, so use your finger and your thumb and pinch and slide them down, which shuts off the side window. And then on the door itself, you do have your electric window, just so you can have your electric windows, or your mirror adjustments, which is the top and the blind spot. So there's two on each mirror. You've got your front blinds, which you'd pinch again, slide, and they're just a magnetic strip to secure them both together. So if it's going to be windy, hairband or elastic band round here to stop them pinging open. And then you do have, to the right down here of the driver, headlight adjustment. This is your wipers with the trip computer on the end, so that'll do your miles per gallon, instant consumption, average speed, range, travelling times, and so on, A and B. And then you've got your lights and your indicators on the top one, cruise control on the top, off in the middle, and speed limiter on the bottom. So you can set that either on the cruise or the speed. Steering wheel controls, so you've got mute, volume, voice command, hands-free. This will scroll through your radio channels, tracks on a CD, media, or your contacts. You've got the rear view camera, which is always on, or you can pop it into reverse and it'll come on as well. It comes on here, so it does say on the head unit, camera system unavailable. That's because the camera is wired to the monitor, so it can stay on all the time. And then you do have traction control, so this disengages traction control. Hill descent control, which doesn't really work because it's a manual. This is more for an automatic. Hazards, this locks you two cab doors. Obviously you would manually lock your habitation door and the rest of the doors on the motorhome. Heated mirrors, 12 volt for charging purposes only, and 240, and another 12 volt, sorry, for charging. You've got a 12 volt and an auxiliary down here for the head unit, so this is for the media system in the center console, which is here, and you turn on and off here. It's FM and AM radio, so once you're happy you can press 1 to 3 to save, or you can go to all and save 12 radio stations. You can go to media, so CD, Bluetooth audio, or MP3 player, or auxiliary, or anything that you've connected through a USB. Phone, so do you want a pair phone? Yes. You'll need to find Uconnect on your device, make sure the pins match. Once you've pressed pair, it will come up and ask you to press pair on here, and then it will ask you if you want to download your phone book. Press yes, and then whoever rings you will come up on the display instead of just a number, and then it'll save your phone in here. You can go to more and you can view your trips, so your fuel range, your average speed, your average distance, your average miles per gallon, and so on. And there. And then above, if you pull this from the back, don't be afraid to pull too hard. And then you do have a sat nav and phone holder, so you can put your device in there and then lock it in by pushing this in. That locks that, opens it up and folds it back down. Or you can use it as a map or paper holder on the top. You've got a heated and cooled top box there, so that works with the heating. So you've got the temperature on the outside ring, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, and then you do have your distribution, so where you want it to go to, and your circulation on the bottom. So if you've got things in the summer like chocolate and sweets and things, you can pop them in there with the air conditioning on, but do be careful that you don't have it on hot and you've got chocolate in there, because it will melt. And then you've got, somebody's left the dimensions on this for you, and you've got Fiat camper assist number there should you ever need it. And then to arm the vehicle, you would just lock it, and this will put the alarm on. So do make sure that you unlock it first to disengage the alarm before you open any of the habitation door or the garage lockers, or this can set the alarm off. You do have a fob as well, so you can lock and unlock, and you can also turn the sensors off inside, but this is all explained in the handbooks.